Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the T3 Handicapping YouTube channel. I am Chris from T3 Handicapping, and I'm here to go over the final card from Aqueduct of 2021. That is Friday's card on 12/31/2021. As we get ready to round into the new year, we're going to do a quick run through of the entire race card, just like we have typically in our lightning rounds. Just kind of run through the whole card and hopefully get you some tickets cashed on your way out for any New Year's festivities. So, without further ado, let's jump into things. First, just a reminder to those of you that are interested, we do have a free contest going on. It costs you $0 to get involved, so you have nothing to lose. It's on Saturday, January 1st, 2022. All of our horses will become, or I should say, all of our Derby contenders will become 3 on that day. It's going to be from Oaklawn Park. Entries must be submitted before 12 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. You must be 21 plus to enter the tournament, and you only get one entry per player. If you need any information about that, you can certainly find it in the link here in the description of the YouTube video, but you can also find it on our website, t3handicapping.weebly.com. You can find it on our Facebook page, that's T3 Handicapping Horse Racing, and on our Twitter page at Handicapping T3. Lots of different places for you to make sure that you get signed up for that tournament. You get to select your 2 horses for each race, and then you can cash win, place, and exacta mutuals based on how you do. We'll be updating live in our Facebook group, so I'll be posting race by race stats. So you can be tracking there, see how you're doing, and the winner or winners based on parimutuel dollars will receive 1 month free of T3 handicapping product. Now, if you're already a member and you've already purchased the month of January, not to worry. If you win the contest, we'll just roll it into February, and you'll just get to start your trial a little bit, or start your month free a little bit later. So don't worry if you're thinking, man, I just renewed my subscription for the month of January, and I wish I could have just won the freebie. You'll get it in February just fine. Again, we're not doing any tiebreakers. So if you win, if you tie for the top mutual, you're getting a month free, and that can be issued out to as many players as possible. So please get in there and feel free to fill out an entry. Get your buddies involved. We would love to have just a huge, robust group. I think one of the things that we all love about horse racing is the camaraderie. Let's get a bunch of people together and let's have some fun and try and pick some winners at Oaklawn on Saturday for the Smarty Jones. That being said, we're not here to talk about Oaklawn. We're here to talk about Aqueduct. Now, our picks have been extremely good at Aqueduct. Our top plays are winning almost 50% of the time. We are getting our top 4 home almost 80% of the time, maybe even a little bit over that. Our numbers at Aqueduct are second to, I think, only Remington Park across the board. So it's been a really good run there and over a much bigger sample size than Remington. So we're feeling good about that. And we're going to try and pick some winners here. So let's take a look. The 1231 card overall looks, I think, like a card that you can get skinny in a couple of places. So you can see here from our pick sheet, I've got a couple of different races. I've actually got 3 spots specifically where I have lone A type horses that I will be looking to go pretty heavily with. And then I've got a couple other places where I think you've got some places that you can at least keep it skinny. So let's go ahead and let's jump into things right away. We've got race number 1, class level 9, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. It's a slow pace. I'm going to be looking for forwardly placed horses that seem to be doing really well, even with the moisture in the track yesterday. For me, when I look at this one, it's pretty simple. To me, this race goes through the 4 and the 5. Now, I do have the 5 listed as a lone A type. I'm going to just include the 4 just because I think that gives me plenty of coverage. Outside of that, I don't really need a lot. I don't think this pace is going to heat up enough to where those ones are going to be compromised. So I'll take those 2 and just move on. I don't really need to go any deeper than that. Race number 2, we've got a class level 12, 8 furlongs on the dirt, moderate pace in this race here. And we do have a little bit more wide open of a field. I'll put that there just to see what we've got. To me, as I'm looking at this, especially when I look over here at the grid and when I just look here, the 1 and the 5 really seem to stand out to me. Magnetique and Adeline are the ones that I want to use. I know those are the top 2 choices. I've also got Mia Be a Star at 3 to 1 as sort of the next likeliest. I would put that one on the B line. Unfortunately, it seems like kind of a chalky start to get things rolling here at Aqueduct. I don't really see a lot of possibility for the 4 or the 2 even to come from off of it. I just don't think the pace is going to get hot enough up top for any of that to really matter. Moving on to race number 3, we've got a class level 15 going 6 furlongs on the dirt. We've got a slow pace. We're favoring front runners as we always do. And now we're into a spot where I think we've got a possibility here to really start to open things up and see what we can do. The 3 horse does come out as the favorite. And you can see here good connections, good record at the distance. That's in the money record, by the way, not just wins. Um, as I'm looking at this, I like a couple others here. Now, I am a little concerned about having some more mid pack type runners on the top of my tickets without a projected super fast pace. But at the same time, as I look at this, I mean, I think the 6 could actually be a pretty good wager here. And I'm going to keep the 2 on the A line as well, only because I really do think that at 12 to 1, the 2 offers a ton of value to me as well. The other one that I'm kind of interested in here, just looking at things briefly, is the 5. And I like the 5 because the 5 comes in a couple of spots that I really like, and just has that kind of unknown running style. Has a lot of area, a lot of room to project forward. So that's where I'm going to keep that one. When it comes to others that could win, I think Runnin' Son of a Gun has to be at least in the mix. I don't think it's a complete throwaway, and I actually kind of like Chief Engineer against a field that hasn't really proven anything yet. That would be one that I would take a shot with as well. Outside of that, and I know I've covered a pretty good chunk of the field here, 5 out of the 9 horses. So I've covered over half of it. But I think if you have those 5, you've got a better than average chance getting out of there. I'm just not convinced that the 7 is a threat at this point. I could be wrong, but I'm fine with where I'm at. I've got some good value, and I've got the horses that I think are logical. So now we're going to move on to race number 4 here, class level 9, going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt, moderate paces. And you're going to see a lot of these sort of moderate and slower paced races. I think that especially as we're getting into some of the New York stuff, where you've got horses coming off the turf, even though they're on dirt races, which typically do have a little bit faster pace, you just see that their run styles are more suited for turf, and so you tend to get a little bit slower paces. As we know, those New York races don't always have the most blistering upfront speed duels. So as we come into this one, I'm really liking Mazel 18, the number 6 horse, as my top selection. But I do think there's a couple others that are of interest. Uh, Hey, It's Toddy for me comes out as my second best horse, but it's a long way down to that horse. Our Working Girl is another one, and I think they're both going to be in a position where they're going to be forwardly placed enough to make a good run at things. Me personally, as I'm going through and as I'm looking based on my numbers, I don't see it from infringement. Now, that doesn't mean that this is the be all end all. I just don't like infringement at all. So I'm going to kind of go away from that one. I do think that, the 4 and the 9 are kind of interesting. I think I might use the 9 here. I don't know that I'm all that crazy about the 4 just because of the fact that it's a closer. But you know what? At 15 to 1, it's worth a little bit of extra equity there. So I can use it in that spot. Again, my big play there is that I'm just going to go against the favorite, the number 7. Moving on to race number 5, we've got a class level 7, 9 furlongs on the dirt, moderate pace in this race. And we've got Blewett, who has done a lot of its running down Florida way at Gulfstream Park. But I really like both that one and Microscope, actually. So I'm going to put the 3 on the A line, but I do also like the 7 to be a major player as well. Running for Home is an interesting one because Running for Home is one of those just kind of middling second horses. And to me, that doesn't always bode super well. So I'm going to go 6 and 4 as my 2 sort of backup choices here. Outside of that, I'm not really sure I need much of anything else. I mean, I think I have the 2 best speeds. I've got a closer just in case things get really cooked. Um, for me, that's going to be plenty of coverage, and I can move on from there. So one of the things I do like about the Aqueduct Winter Meet is I do feel like it's a race or a place where you can eliminate more horses than, say, if you look at like Saturday's Smarty Jones card at Oaklawn. The whole card looks really, really challenging to make heads or tails of. So, race number 6, class level 3, we're going 8 furlongs on the dirt. Again, another moderate pace. And we've got a couple runners in here that I think are interesting. We have Prioritize, but my concern is where Prioritize fits in terms of the overall pace scenario of this. So I have to use Prioritize. I think not using Prioritize is a mistake. But I'm also going to use our Mexican Wonder Boy up on the top line as well. On my B line, I want to make sure that I have Untreated. I think that one is a really good player here in this spot as well. Now this one is a favorite. I don't have this one rating particularly high in a lot of categories, but I think is one that needs to be respected and could get into the number here. The other one that I have not mentioned yet that I think has an outsider's opportunity to be a threat in this spot is the number 7, 235. Now, the one that I did look at for just a little bit of time was Parsimony, way down here at the bottom. I ultimately opted against it only because my numbers have been so solid with the top 4 that when I was looking at this and trying to decide who I would like over the others, I just kind of ended up defaulting to my top 4 because it's been successful. I do think if I was going to go to a 5th horse, I think it might be the number 8 that I would move up. I would also give some consideration to the 2 Boldish as well, but I do prefer the 8 to that one just based on like old school handicapping methodology. Moving on to race number 7, class level 3. So these are some pretty solid runners. We're going 9 furlongs on the dirt, projecting to be a fast pace. And as we look at this one, I think this race is one that is fairly wide open. I definitely do like Seafoam, who is going to be the favorite, is going to be a front runner, and does come out as the top participant in 3 of my categories. So I think that's definitely one that you have to at least consider. And then Our Last Buck is another one that's just kind of a hard knocking type, has been around for a long time. I do also like in this spot Brooklyn Strong, and I'm not just saying that because he's a great Twitter follow. But I think this horse is one that's been sort of stop-starting a little bit and got back into form, was scheduled to go somewhere else last weekend, I believe, and scratched out of that spot. I'm hoping the reason was they feel like they're ready to go here. I will say it's hard. I've left some horses out that I've backed before and that I like. I mean, Wild Banker, honestly, is probably more of a C type in this situation. Captain Bombastic, the only thing that makes me nervous about Captain Bombastic, I'm going to put him on the B line just because he's got the top pace number, and then he also is 3rd in the race flow. So if for some reason Seafoam doesn't fire, if Our Last Buck doesn't have it today, Captain Bombastic may just inherit it on the front end. The other horse that I haven't yet talked about, well, there's a lot of them. I mean, Danny California I've been on, and that one certainly run against all the top runners. Tiergan is another one that I think is always interesting. This is a pretty deep race overall, and it's mostly deep because much like most years as a Vikings fan, our quarterback situation, there's just not really a standout performer. It's just a lot of sort of, kind of in the middle, solid New York stakes type runners, but honestly not like your top tier grade ones. So wide open race, but I'm going to land mostly on 4, 5, and 3. Race number 8 is the final race of the day, and I'm going to go with a sentimental pick, but also gets the top numbers on my rankings here, and that is Excursioniste. Excursioniste is a Little Bluebird Stables runner, and so I'll be rooting hard for my fellow stable guys there with him trying to get home. But I do think he's in with a great shot. I mean, even though he's labeled as a closing type in this situation, he looks like he's going to be able to get out on the front. I'm not going to just use him. I will also use on the A line the 10. I do think that one has a chance. Further down the ticket, I would use the 6 horse as well. And I'd probably throw in the 3 Salty Air with just some unknowns. But Excursion East has been doing really well, and I know that the boys are pretty excited about him. I don't have any ownership in him personally, but I certainly will be cheering hard for him and all my buddies at Little Bluebird. So good luck to you guys, and good luck to X as he heads to the post. So that's kind of how I see the eighth race there, and that concludes the last card of the year for Aqueduct. So thank you as we wrap up 2021 here. For those of you that have been a part of our first year with T3 Handicapping, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for your continued support. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. Whether you're new or returning, don't forget about our tournament on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun, a chance to win free product for a month. So you definitely want to get in there on that. And no matter where you're playing here on the last day of 2021, as always, cash those tickets.